Hello, I'm back. I'm going to make your favorite, when I say your, I'm talking to my kids, favorite goulash recipe. Okay, I do change it up time to time, and you could add or take away or do it a little bit different. This is just the things I have on hand that I know. My one son is here, and then my husband and myself that we will enjoy. So the first thing we're gonna do is brown this hamburger. And then I've got this water boiling. It's salt water for the pasta. So I've got that going. I'll just get this hamburger browned, and then I'm gonna drain it. Okay, so the hamburger is browning away. The key with browning hamburger is don't cook it to death. I mean, you can have, especially when you're making a casserole, you can have a few bits that are still pink in here because you're gonna add all the other ingredients and you're gonna cook it some more. So you can go ahead and drain this without every little piece being browned. That's something I've learned over the years. I used to brown it forever till every little piece was brown and there wasn't any pink left, but it takes a lot of the flavor out of it if you do that, because it'll cook the rest when you get your other ingredients in there. So I'm gonna push this over here. I've got my drain. I'm gonna drain the fat off of here. Okay, I'm just gonna let that drain for a minute. I'm gonna stick this back on my burner. And then I chopped up an onion. Oops. I chopped up an onion and some garlic. So I'll saute this for a few minutes in a little bit of that fat that was left over in the pan from browning the hamburger. Now you could put the onion and garlic in with the hamburger when you're browning the hamburger. I don't know why, I just switch from doing that. I usually don't do it that way. I usually do it separate. You also don't need, if you don't have fresh onion and garlic on hand, it's okay to use dried. I actually really like to use dry onion and definitely garlic powder, which I will put some more of those two items in here. So I'm gonna get this browning for a minute, or saute so they're soft. I might turn that down a little bit. Check my water. It's coming along. I'm gonna get my pasta out there. I'm gonna use elbows. That's my favorite for my goulash. But you could use other pasta, I guess. You know, any shape that you want. Okay, so my water's to a boil. And I'm gonna measure out a couple cups of pasta. Oops. Stir that. Okay. You don't want your garlic to start browning, so this is about right now. My onion is getting close to being translucent. Sometimes on the hamburger, I will rinse it with water. I'm not gonna bother with that this time. I just drained all the fat off. So I'm gonna add that back in. Okay. And see, I'm cooking the hamburger some more now. And now I'm gonna season that hamburger up. And here's my spices. Salt. I am gonna add some more some onion powder, which I add to everything, pretty much everything savory that I cook. I am gonna add some granulated garlic, which is another thing I put in almost every savory dish that I cook. And definitely my fresh ground pepper. Other things you could add in here would be herbs. If you want it to be more of an Italian flavor, you could add some Italian herbs, thyme, basil, oregano, those kinds of things. Or if you want it to be more of a Mexican flavored, you could add some cumin. You could add pepper flakes, some cayenne, all things that I've added to this. But today I'm just going to stick with the basic seasonings. I might get some celery salt for a little more celery, or a little more celery, a little more salt. I really like celery salt. You do want to be careful with your salt. You can always add more later. I might add a little bit of thyme to this. See, I improvise as I go along. That's the way I cook. Oh, those dried thyme leaves, those were the ticket. I can see the little flakes of pepper, so I know I probably did really well on that. Oops, I'm throwing them all over here. Okay, so now I'm going to add some tomato sauce, okay? Kind of stir that in and get a feel for my consistency here. Keep an eye on my noodles. I've cooked enough pasta in my life. I can tell by stirring it when it's gonna be ready to drain. But you know, I like it al dente, 7 to 10 minutes on your pasta. And you drain your pasta, but don't rinse it, okay? So I got my tomato sauce in there, and then something that I've come to use quite a bit I put this in my chili, and I'm gonna put it in this goulash too, is beef consomme. I really like the flavor that it imparts. So I'm gonna put a can of that in there. This is actually the first time I've ever used beef consomme in my goulash recipe. But there you have it. Not essential, it's just what I'm doing this time. Something else that I always put in my most dishes that I make, if I make meatloaf, chili, goulash, is chia seeds. Now you know. Chia seeds have a lot of protein, and the other thing they have is omega-3s. And the thing they don't have is any flavor. So you don't even know they're in there, but you're imparting some more nutrition, which we want to do wherever we can. And the other thing that these chia seeds will do is they will soak up some of that liquid. So now you know. Chia seeds are my secret ingredient. If you're eating a bowl of chili at my house, or goulash or meatloaf, my spaghetti sauce, I put chia seeds in all of it to get some of those more omega-3s, more of those omega-3s in our diet. Yeah, my family doesn't even know all this stuff I do. You do now, though. Okay, so I'm gonna also add in a can of diced tomatoes. This one is with the green chilies. Okay, sometimes I just add the green chilies. It just depends what I have on hand. So I'm gonna bump up the temp a little bit. Get this bubbling. I'm gonna check my pasta. And I definitely don't want to overcook the pasta, because it's gonna go in here and it's gonna cook some more. So the other things you could add to this, and I'm debating whether I'm gonna add it this time, is you could add some corn or another canned vegetable or frozen vegetable that you like, maybe some green beans, I don't know. Corn is usually one if I add a vegetable, that's the one I might add. You could add salsa in here, and then the sky's the limit. Just be creative. But this is the kind of some of the basic items I put in here. Basic spices, and then the basic other add-ins, and then my secret ingredient that I've probably never told you guys before, you guys being my kids, is chia seeds. Okay, the pasta feels like it's about ready. Couple more minutes. I want it to just barely be getting soft, because it'll finish cooking in here too. I need this part here to get rocking and rolling. I'm really feeling like I am gonna add the corn this time. But yeah, this is what we're gonna have for supper tonight. And you can top it off if you want it to be more Italian, you know, with some Parmesan cheese. Some Mexican cheeses if you want it to be more Mexican flavor. You could add, you know, if you were doing a Mexican goulash, you could add taco seasoning mix in here for your seasoning. I have a bunch of those taco seasoning packets that I got from a job I did a while back. Yeah, I had to I took care of these machines that did these automated samples, and I got to keep when I had to change it out. This is when I was in between jobs. That was fun. I liked doing that. Anyway, I got to keep all the samples when it was the day to go in there and change out those samples. Whatever was left, I got to keep, and one of the runs was taco seasoning packets. I usually make my own taco seasoning, but it was all these packets, and I got to keep them. Okay, let me stir the pasta. Oh yeah, pasta's ready to go in. So I'm just gonna drain it right here. Give it a little bit of a shake. And then in it goes. Oops. And there you have it. Lisa's goulash, or maybe I should say goulash according to Lisa. We ate this a lot when I was a kid. I should have looked up the history of goulash. I don't know where it comes from or what, but we sure ate it a lot growing up. And when my kids were little, oh my goodness, at least once a week. The other thing I guess I would say to do is you just let it simmer for, 10-15 minutes on low. So there you go. It's been simmering away, bubbling away for about 15 minutes. So it's ready. I will put the recipe down in the description. Hearty, delicious, homemade food. Enjoy.